Hey, don't go yet. I've got a lot of questions to ask you.
Well, we never left. And I have assembled here the playwrights from the production, Sacrificial Versions, and as well as the actors. Let me introduce them from left to right. This is, you don't have to look anywhere. Delise Battenfield, Johanna Ralston, Deborah Waller, Drew Windsor, and Rounds. Let me start with the actors standing up in the back. How does it feel to be doing it in live TV instead of on stage?
Well, it's a little bit...
It's different. It's very different.
Well, how is it different?
For one thing, on stage you've got that proscenium and a large live audience out there, and your frame of reference is pretty much set. You're not dealing with three-quarter areas or something like that. You know that the whole entire audience is right there as opposed to possibly there, or there.
Right, right.
Yeah, and just the feeling is more static or sterile. Then you don't. I mean, there is an audience, but it just has a different
Big difference.
feel to it.
Can you talk about your background? I should mention at this point that I was also in this production. I was in the second act. This was a this was a 3 one-act plays in Sacrificial Version. I wasn't in this professor play, but why don't you explain your backgrounds? What are your theater backgrounds or non-theater backgrounds?
My theater background is brief. I've been acting for about a year now, and I work at a publishing company that publishes plays. I guess that goes a little further back, but this was my first public performance back in September, so it was a wonderful opportunity and a good starting point.
I've been acting for 17 years, and I've worked professionally, and have been working in the Boston area for a couple of years now, and devoting myself to working with original plays because I really like the opportunity of working with the playwrights.
Great. I'm going to ask you more about that later. Great. What kind have you been doing? Theater and drama and comedy and
Yeah.
whole mix. You did musicals as well.
I've done that too,
You've got a
yes.
nice voice, yeah. Well, let me introduce Johanna right here in the middle at this point. Johanna wrote The Professor. And can you talk about the process? Give the audience an idea of, well, actually, let's back up. Let's just talk about Sacrificial Versions and what that was. Could you just explain what that show was?
Sacrificial Versions was 3 one-acts based on second chances for fictional characters, and we each...
Don't worry about the audience. It's a conversation in our living room.
Right, sure.
Continue. Three one-act plays.
Yes, and we've actually, the 3 of us have worked together before. We had produced a piece last year, and we each came up with 3 very different ideas for second chances for fictional characters. Debbie's is based on Charlie's Angels, and Delisa's is on a Shakespeare play, and mine was on just looking back at some of the classics that we're taught and maybe thinking about different ways of looking at them. So it took us about, I would say, 8 months from starting the play process to hiring a director to going through the whole thing.
8 months, including the writing?
Including the writing to the finished
Well, that
product.
actually doesn't seem very long.
Yeah, although it's, writing is something that, you might have a piece somewhere before that you had sort of started and never finished, or it's hard to say exactly when the writing begins, but the writing with the specific goal of Sacrificial Versions was about January or February, and then we produced the piece in September.
All right, September this year, 19. Deborah, on my right here, why don't you talk about what the name of your one-act play was and what the emphasis of it was?
Well, my play was Brand of Angels, and it was about the Well, I felt a lot of compassion for the actresses who played Charlie's Angels and the burden.
This is the famous 60s
Right.
TV show,
Right,
right?
as ex-angels. And now I feel they want to be politically correct, okay? They're a little bit ruthless in which one is more politically correct, okay? So they're in this sort of competition to get the most politically correct role, and a woman kind of takes advantage of that. And that's sort of what it's about.
Yeah, so. And Delise, explain what your piece was, what the title was, and what it was about.
Well, the name of my piece was All's Okay That Ends Up Similarly, and as you can guess, it's based on All's Well That Ends Well. Basically, it just came out of, I went to see All's Well That Ends Well at one point and just felt like it didn't end up very well for Helen, so I rewrote it so that Helen had more of a say.
Anne and Drew played the Count and Helen in that, yeah.
And Erica played the feminist
Oh, God,
who came
that's
in and sort of made the 1980s, 90s version of what women can do.
Yeah, it was a fun show to be in and so forth. What's the scene in Boston for new work? This is an original work, and, well, actually, to back up again, talk about how you formed. How did the three of you playwrights come together and ended up doing 2 shows now? How did you meet?
Well, we all took a class together, Mark Leib's playwriting class at Harvard Extension. That was in the fall of 1988. And then a friend and I had started a women's theater group, sort of not with just a very loose focus, just trying to think, are there interesting roles for women? And the whole thing was very much of a process. We didn't have a lot of goals. And I think if we'd known everything that was involved, maybe we wouldn't have done it. But so that's, you know,
I'm glad you didn't know.
yeah, we just sort of scraped together. So I invited Debbie and Delise to join our group, and we produced something called Women in Funerals last year, which also included music and dance. And we built the sets, and we carted them around in our cars, and we performed in different places. And after that, we decided to do it in a little more focused, serious, quasi-professional way with sacrificial versions.
Quasi-professional?
Like, we know what we're doing in the beginning.
Oh, you had one scene. Right, the Leland Center, yeah. Are you folks working on anything? Well, so you were in this class, you joined the class, and you did sort of a support group. Did you write together? Did you meet every once in a while? I'm just thinking about, struggling playwrights. I think it's a really interesting model, what you did, meeting in this class. Did you meet periodically during the writing, or how did that work?
Well, pretty much you were on your own, and then we would meet and read it, and then, give supportive criticism,
Yeah,
things like
we're
that.
still meeting. There's a much larger group that's
Right.
still meeting.
Oh, yeah? Is that
like
right?
once a month and talk about
Is that an open group? Can we talk about that? Maybe not. How many people are in that group? How many writers?
Probably about 10 to 12.
yeah.
Okay.
It's a good group.
And when you were doing, for instance, sacrificial versions, how often did you meet and how often did you get together as a group?
Well, I'd say when we were writing, we met about maybe once a month.
Just the 3 of us.
Right.
We would just.
And it took,
We had actually, I had written mine and Deborah had also written hers, and we were just talking about things that we had finished, and we found out that they had a similar theme, and we talked to Joanna, and she wrote it.
and that's when you decided to package them as 3 1-acts together.
Right.
Uh-huh. Is that a very expensive thing to do? I mean, is it as easy as, I mean, not to say that the writing, et cetera, is easy, but do you think this is possible for other playwrights to come together and do this kind of effort?
I think if you're realistic about the amount of work you have to do to get it done, but it's not impossible or even that hard. And you learn a lot doing it, so.
Was it very expensive or particularly, did you have to quit your
We
job?
made our money back. No, we put up money up front and then made it back on the door during the show. And we
The
all worked
second
full
time.
time. The first time I made $4. So, at least I didn't lose $4.
$4 profit, right?
Yeah,
You're
I
in
mean,
the
if you
black.
count all the hours you put in and try to assign a price to them, sure it's.
And what do you think the climate is for original work here? And this includes actors, but what do you think that Boston is a very hospitable climate for original work versus obviously written, previously written plays by classical players? Do you think it's a hospitable place, or how did you find the reception, reviewers, anything you want to talk about there? We have our favorite things.
Well, there's not a lot of theaters doing original work here, and so it is a little bit difficult. And the Phoenix did review it; they absolutely hated it. But they're very supportive about sending someone to review it, which a lot of papers won't do at all. So, of all the papers, they're the most interested in new works, I
The
think.
Phoenix, yeah.
Even
But
though,
also you can get listings in Calendar and
Right.
Phoenix, which, you know, you just send them a listing.
yeah, publicity is very easy to get.
Okay. You did it through the calendar and the Phoenix on your own, right? And that's where people can find out about the new works, is checking the Phoenix and the calendar.
I think Boston isn't bad for new works because it's possible to put on your own show. It's not like New York where it's, you know, you can't have that Andy Hardy approach. And yet it's big enough that you can get a fairly cosmopolitan audience, or at least, you know, fairly diverse audience. So I think all things
Well,
being
although I
equal,
think it's always a little
okay.
bit difficult for new writers because they're always comparing you to those greats that are out there.
Right, and you're just cutting your teeth.
Yeah, I mean, next door we had Harold Pinter playing, and on the other side Shakespeare. You know, it's just really hard to be in that environment.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that's hard is, just as an example, the Phoenix critic, but this tends to be true in general, is that with a piece like this, which was a workshop production, people tend to overlook that and ignore that, and they're expecting a fully polished, mounted, professional production, which is next to impossible without lots of money.
Yeah, I think people don't realize, and it's true in video and television as well. I mean, there is a lot of money in commercial theater, commercial television, and it's very difficult to get the production values that high when you just have a very shoestring budget. What's it like acting in? Talk about the process of being in Sacrificial Versions. I put my 2 cents in here too. But in terms of working with having the playwright right there, what are the pros and cons of that as an actor?
Well, Johanna was there for a lot of the rehearsals, and it was just a lot of give and take,
They have to
all
say that you're
amicable. No, it was interesting, and it wasn't just acting; it was thinking about the writing, and you realize what goes into everything, and you, I think, get a big appreciation for the whole process.
Is it difficult? Pretend like you're not here for me. Is it difficult to have the playwrights there, or is it an aid?
Sometimes
It's
it was. I thought, I mean,
Well, it's an aid in that oftentimes the work is still malleable at that point. If something isn't working for you as an actor, you have an input into what's being created for the character. The negative side of it is that often, at least for me, and this isn't the first time I've worked with playwrights, I've ended up feeling like I had 2 directors.
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
but also you feel like she put all this work into writing it, and here I am saying the lines that she wrote, and you just feel this huge responsibility because she's not dead. She's sitting here.
Very much.
This better be good.
Well, we're wrapping up the segment, but if the 3 of you, now I know at least 2 of you are working on new works, or all 3 of you. What are you working on now, and how can people get a hold, be able to watch that? We can start with Deborah here.
Oh, well, I'm working on a screenplay, so about 12 years probably.
What's it about, just generally? You don't have to give it all away. I know you're one. But.
Okay, I'll just say sperm donation.
Promises to be good. Johanna, is that something in the works?
Not really. I'm getting ready to move
Oh, yeah.
abroad, so I'm
Oh, yeah.
kind of focused on that.
Where are you moving?
Europe.
Oh. The continent and large, or?
Well, Sweden.
Oh, we'll miss you.
But I'll still work.
Well, we'll watch
Just
from
for a while.
Sweden. Elise.
I don't know if I want to follow sperm donation. I'm working on a piece called White Lice and Her 3 Sisters that is a style that I'm more comfortable with, which is sort of fat, old Southern women sitting around talking, and I don't know when it'll be finished. Maybe.
You are from the South yourself,
Yes,
right?
I'm
Yeah.
from the South, and most of my writing is very Southern.
Well, I think that earlier there was a graphic put up for Valkyrie Productions. If it hasn't been put up the graphic for Valkyrie Productions, and then the audience who's ever out there tonight and future audiences can see where they can contact this group, because they put on good shows and you should know about them. Thank you very much for joining us, for performing, for being here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to watch the Angry Tuxedos. And this is a this is an improvisational comedy troupe, and they can be seen every Friday night at Remington's, but you get to see them right now. And I'll clear the stage, and we'll get started with the Angry Tuxedos.
Thank you, Marjorie.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Erica. Well, hello, we're the Angry Tuxedos. I am just one Angry Tuxedo. The rest of them are over there, and I'm going to introduce them right now. Beginning with Mr. Andrew Meyer. Paul Van Wart. Right. And I'm Cal Feldman. And what the Angry Tuxedos do is we do improvisational comedy, which means we ask you for things. We ask you for names, places, styles, emotions, and everything that you see us do is based totally on your participation and your interaction, because everything we do is created immediately and spontaneously just for you. Pretty cool, huh? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you for a place where two people can be together. Any place.
A bathhouse.
A bathhouse, okay, a bathhouse. A bathhouse. All right. And Andy and Paul and Kings are just going to go wander off over there. And now what I need are some emotions, or states of mind, states of being.
Disgruntled.
Disgruntled. Disgruntled. Okay, some more.
Curious.
Curious. Some more.
Embarrassed.
Giddy, embarrassed. Embarrassed. Good things for a bathhouse.
Lascivious.
What was that? Lascivious. Lascivious. All right, and some more. States anything. How are you feeling right now?
Trans-like.
Trans-like. That'll work. Any more? States of mind, states of being, emotion?
Angry.
What? Angry.
Confused.
Confused. Any more in the back? How are you feeling?
Secretive.
Secretive. Secretive. Well, what's going to happen right now is that Andy and Paul are going to come out here, and they're going to begin a scene in and around the bathhouse. Periodically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze that scene. They're going to stop their action, and I'm going to call out one of these emotions that you so graciously gave me. And the scene will take on a whole new flavor. And this is what we call jump emotion. So now I take you to a bathhouse.
Morning, Wart. Bring in Jumbo.
Morning, Andy. Come on, boy. Come on.
Good boy.
It's Jumbo's first bath this year.
Ooh, damn. Anybody ever washed this animal?
That's why we're here.
Freeze! Giddy!
I'm so happy. I can't believe we finally get to watch Jumbo.
Wait to see what Jumbo does.
Wow, I've never seen Ellen giggle before.
Freeze! Secretive.
But there are places we cannot wash.
I'm just going to go over a few of the finer points when you're going to be washing a pachyderm. Now, these large creatures, by the way, have you been sworn in?
No, I haven't.
Oh, jeez.
But I'm prepared.
Well, it's sort of a brotherhood ritual before you can actually wash an elephant.
I happen to have a Bible right here.
Freeze! Disgruntled.
But it's a King James version.
Oh, that's not acceptable! That's completely not acceptable!
I'm sorry, it was a gift.
I can't believe you brought in a King James version. It'll have to do. All right. Now, please put the Bible under the elephant's trunk.
Freeze! Curious.
I've never been under here before.
Now then, repeat after me. I promise to wash elephants very nicely.
I promise to wash elephants very nicely.
Why did you say it that way?
Well, that's the way I thought you should say it.
Freeze! Lascivious.
Oh, really?
It was had a special flow to it.
Would you mind saying that again?
I promise to wash elephants clearly.
Nicely. Oh, that is nice, isn't it?
I promise to wash elephants Nicely.
You're sworn in.
Freeze! Anger.
Thank you, brother. It's great to be here. I'm proud to be an elephant watcher. I could have been a doctor or a dentist, but no, I chose to do elephants. I chose to enter the secret brotherhood of elephant watching.
It's a time-honored tradition! You just turn on the hose and you spray! You
Freeze.
got it?
Translate.
Watch how the water sprays. Wow.
Freeze! And thank you very much. That was just
Good evening, and welcome to Poets' Corner at the Teacup Cottage here in Cheshire. My name is Richard Templeton, and I need, before we begin, a topic for our poets this evening. Please, a topic, anything?
Sperm donations.
Sperm donation, fantastic. Thank you, sir. Sperm donation. We'll hear about sperm donation, but first let's meet our poet, shall we? Our first poet, sir.
You know, like, my name is Biff Baxter, and I'm from Los Angeles, California, and it's like awesome to be in Somerville. Excellent surfing town.
Congratulations. And our second poet?
My name is Dame Eleanora Chichi Bartholomew.
Well, Miss Bartholomew, welcome. And our third poet?
Hello. My name is Jacques, and I come from Paris. And I'm a waiter in a small little bistro in Paris. And it is so very nice to be here tonight with you, lovely, wonderful people, and you beautiful woman.
Jacques, please. Haven't much time, really.
I was
Thank you.
distracted. I must apologize.
Smooth, dude, smooth.
Well, smooth dude. What have you to say regarding sperm donation?
Awesome. Like just yesterday afternoon, I was hanging around on the beach. And you know, I'd like to buy a hot dog, but the price is just too far out of reach. So I went out to look for a job, and nowhere could I find anyone to give me a job. You know, so like, I saw this big sign standing on the wall, and I went over to inquire, what was it all about? So like, this guy brought me into a room, you know, and he said, you've got to donate some sperm. And I said, wow, and I contributed like a giant pachyderm. You know, I have hot dogs now from here to Malibu and back. And just think, it was all because I went and I read that very special flack. Thank you.
Wonderful. Where do you find that inspiration? It's fantastic.
Oh, you know, I like brought it with me.
I see why. Chi-Chi, shall we hear from you then next?
To squat! Or not to squat, that is the question. Alas, poor Yorick, his trip is low, but nay! The little sperm, they do swim. Swim, little sperm, swim, swim, swim! No, I must kill this sperm! No! Sperm, sperm. What have I learned? If I could but put you into a tube, it would by giving myself a whole new lube. Thank you.
Fantastic. Marvelous. Where do you get your energy, Chi-Chi? Well, marvelous. It's excellent. Well, our third poet. Wonderful. Congratulations. Monsieur, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. a woman is like donating sperm. In order to be successful with a woman, you must be very gentle. You must first caress, and then gently prod along, but you must not rush a woman. For a woman understands things like no man can understand. Why, if I had a nickel for every time I have seen love come and go, every time love has been wasted down some toilet shower, or perhaps even a drain, why, I would have probably maybe 47 cents, because once I saw love, and it was wasted, but it was almost recycled, and that would have gotten back 2 or 3 cents. That's how I would have gotten the 47. A woman needs compassion. For to me, a woman is like a turtle. It is often very slow, but it always gets there. Or perhaps it is not like a turtle at all. Perhaps a woman is more like the waves upon the ocean, relaxing but turbulent. Perhaps that is not it either. For a woman is more like a little test tube. Excellent, because it is very useful. And you can store things in it and know exactly how much you have and file it and put it away in a little shelf and it will always be there. Or perhaps it is not. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The important thing is love. I'd like to thank you. Thank you very much.
Bravo, bravo. Wonderfully thought out. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here at the Teacup Cottage. I'm Richard Templeton. We'll see you next time when our poets will be discussing balloon and their explosions. Thank you.
Can I have a contemporary American playwright? Or a contemporary playwright? Let's open this up a little bit. A contemporary playwright.
David Mamet.
Okay, David Mamet. Also, what I need is an object.
Dessert.
Dessert. Dessert. That's a fine object. Dessert. An example of a movie genre or style. Not a specific.
Disaster movies.
Disaster movie?
Okay.
Disaster movie. Disaster movie. And finally, I need a classic playwright. Someone not from this century. Molière. Thank you very much, ma'am. You've answered all 3. Molière. Okay, our object tonight is dessert. Our contemporary playwright is David Mamet. Our movie style is disaster movie. And our classic playwright is Molière. The tuxedos are going to come out now and do a really brief scene based around the object you've given us, dessert. Then I will come out, stop the scene, and we'll see it again in the style of David Mamet, a disaster movie, and Molière. We call this styles.
I just love this restaurant. Maison Robert.
Only the best, darling.
Thanks.
Well,
Dinner was delicious. The duck, the little baby asparagus. It was wonderful.
May I interest you in some desserts, perhaps?
By all means, dessert menu.
Very good, sir. I'll be right back.
Thank you.
Here's the dessert menu. And one for you.
Thank you.
I'd recommend the cherries flambé. For a woman, it's like cherries flambé.
Oh, can we please? I've never had anything flaming before. Thank you.
Let's have the flambé.
Very good. Here we go. I'm very sorry, mother. I'm very sorry. Excuse me. I did not mean. I'm very sorry. I was taken away. I'm very sorry. I apologize.
Freeze! All right, now let's see the very same scene in the style of David Mamet.
Is your stomach bothering you again? I know your stomach's probably bothering you again. It's just because you've been listening to your brother. If you weren't listening to your brother, your stomach wouldn't bother you.
Oh, yeah? Oh, my stomach's bothering me, huh? You know my stomach's bothering me?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know my stomach's bothering me?
Because I know that you listen to your brother, and the brother makes your stomach bother you.
Oh, really? Oh, you know my brother?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Billy, how are you?
Hey!
Hey, how are you? How's the stomach, man? How's the stomach? You shouldn't have had that meatloaf. If
Yes.
there's one thing I'm continually trying to explain to him, is that he should not partake in meatloaf. And yet I noticed that you've eaten a lot of meatloaf.
Yeah, so I did. I'm sorry, you know?
Hey.
So are we gonna have dessert here or what? Are we gonna just talk and chat and hit each other?
You want dessert?
I want dessert.
Are you interested in having
I'm
dessert?
interested in dessert.
What kind
Saying
of
I'm
dessert are you
interested
interested in having?
I don't know. I'm
Order a
interested.
dessert, honey.
All right.
She's ordering a dessert. What kind of dessert do you want? We got all kinds of dessert. Just tell me what you want.
Got anything with a sparkler? Yeah.
I got something with the sparkler. Dessert-wise, of course. I believe I could whip something up to that nature, perhaps.
Yeah. How's your stomach?
Yeah, it's much better now.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that.
2 cupcakes with a sparkler. How about that, huh? I think this might be a nice thing. Huh? Hey, what can I do?
Good idea.
Hey, I tell you what, this chick is awesome, huh? Who is this chick anyway, huh?
Oh.
I think I've seen this chick before. Have you been with this chick before?
I've been with this chick before.
Hey, that's my brother!
Yeah, he is your brother. I've been with you before, too.
Hey, I remember. It was not that rememberable. You know what I'm saying?
Freeze! Let's look at the same scene again in the style of a disaster movie.
Dinner was very...
I'm sorry, we had a little problem. But dessert is included. What would you like? What? Okay, 1 second. I've got it. Hold on. Here, we got it. Jesus, I'm sorry. No, we're going to have to take a break. If we can go to the front of the restaurant, it's not underwater. Go to make it to the front. She's dead. She's dead. We can make it.
Freeze! And finally, let's see our scene about the dessert in the style of Molière.
Oh yes. A fine dinner we had. My mother was wrong. You are not a cad.
Tis true, my love. Tis true, my love. I know I didn't have to use my glove.
The meat was tender. The vegetables were soft. Oh, how my heart does go aloft.
I hope dinner was fine. The recipe was mine.
Splendid, Jeeves. We love you around. You know we loved having that hound.
Yes. It was delicious, I say. We serve it every day.
Dog? I ate a dog?
Yes, madam, it was the food that was shaped like a log.
On my plate before me, there was a log shaped like a dog from which you did make yourself a hog.
Well, my love, I'm fat, it's true. But wouldn't you rather... Wouldn't you rather...
Have more like two.
You are a kidder, that's for sure.
It is now, I think, the dessert's turn. Perhaps we shall have cherries, and then we shall burn.
Yes, cherries bring. For them we shall both sing.
Oh. I present to you your dessert, ma'am and sir. Although I would wonder if I might have a word. Be very careful, for they're very hot. They're uncontrollable. You control them not.
Oh, but surely they must be sweet. They must be sweet and neat and fun to eat.
Notice the cherries, bright and red. Come, let's put some on your head.
Well, what do you think of that? I have a new cherry jubilee hat.
Freeze! Thank you very much, Seven Styles.
And now Marjorie Buren to come up and help us with our next structure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Marjorie, you're our director, and I'm just going to let you take this away, Marjorie.
I don't need this actually, but thank you.
But you can have it.
Okay, how are you? Okay, thank you. Actually, we're going to do something so special tonight that I've been called up to do this. We've been asking you all night for suggestions and places and styles and all, and what I need now is a man. And I think I see him right there. Yes.
It's like, yeah, I'm ready.
This is the first time this is ever being done on any television show. What is your name?
Patrick.
Patrick, come here. We're gonna sit you down here, Patrick. Let's have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. This will be painless.
Okay.
Where are you from, Patrick? Do you live here
Boston.
in Somerville? In Boston?
I'm from Boston, yes.
Are you originally from Boston?
No, but have been living there for 7 years. So I consider myself
A what?
a Boston
A Bostonian, right. And where did you come from? Where'd you grow up?
in Portchester, New York.
Portchester. Where is it? Is that near a big city or anything?
North New York.
It's in a New York
Suburb.
area. Do you have a lot of brothers and sisters?
Yes, I do.
How many?
7 in the family total.
7 brothers and sisters. What are their names? Quickly. Can you remember their names? Give me 5 to 7.
Mary, Michael, Thomas, Frank, and Diane.
Oh, sounds sort of like the Last Supper. Thanksgiving is coming up, and I wondered, with all those siblings, did you have any really special festive occasions that you can remember growing up there in Portchester with Mary and Frank and all the rest of the gang?
Festive occasions.
Or particularly horrible Thanksgiving, or wonderful, or
Kelly.
funny, or embarrassing, just anything that stands out in your mind?
No, not.
That's great. No. Surely with all those children, was there ever a dinner or any event that happened there at home that was funny or bizarre or embarrassing? Did you ever pull a trick of any kind? Did you ever do anything? Was this a monastery that you were in?
Drawing a blank, I guess.
Why'd you come to Boston? It was just too boring in Portchester. Is that why you came?
It was college.
Which one did you go to?
Emerson College.
Oh, Emerson. Now, Emerson is known for wild goings on there. Did you
No, nothing
privy to-
happened there. The funny going on in Thanksgivings. Okay, here we go.
Here we go. I knew you had one in you, Patrick. All right,
There was a bottle of wine, and on this bottle of wine was a picture of a woman. And they were describing the glass to the shape of the bottle to the area of France where the wine came from. And they were saying that certain glasses shaped in a certain way represent different areas of France where they come from.
They being your parents at the dinner table? Or
Yes,
you had a
some
sommelier in your
wine
home, or-
connoisseur were walking through during
During dinner, I love it.
And somebody suggested that this woman on the bottle, maybe, or this shape of the bottle, what can you tell the difference between bottles? And they held up 2 different bottles. One had a picture of a woman on it, and one was shaped very odd shaped. And someone said, can you tell the difference between 2 bottles? And then someone hyped up and said, yes, one is a Beaujolais and the other is the Beaujolais. There you go. See, that was a very bad time. That was a very bad joke.
And this was it?
Said at a very big table.
Well, it'll go over well on this particular show. Now, did this happen at your home during Thanksgiving?
It just happens.
It just happens. So shall we take a look at this, guys? We're going to actually have you live here, and for the first and possibly last time, we're going to actually see Patrick and the bottles of wine. Let's just slide over here.
Hey, Thanksgiving Day. It's about time that Penny came back from college.
Sure, Pop. You know, but he's over there in Emerson having a fine wild time.
Hey, but he'll be back stuffed with knowledge and wisdom.
Sure, he'll be looking at what you can do with a TV screen. That Penny's a fine one.
Patty, Frankie, I'm home! Patty, how are you? I'm home from Emerson. Hey, I learned how a television works.
You did now.
You did then, son.
I sure did.
Tell us about the television world.
Who brought the wine? Look at those 2 nice bottles.
Very clear, Sir Patty. A man just walked through and left him there.
I followed him around the block, but he was disappeared.
Oh, is that right?
But he said you could be telling us a story about how we can discover what the difference is between the 2 bottles, Patty. Why don't you tell us the story?
Tell us, Patty, come on.
Tell us.
I heard a really stupid joke one time.
Oh,
You didn't then. Those 2 bottles, you know what the difference is?
Oh, no.
What? I can't do it.
Well, one's a bit bigger, and the other's smaller.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit more to it. You see, one is a bordelais, and the other is a broad you lay. Yes, yes.
What kind of a college is this?
I don't know.
What kind of Sodom and Gomorrah are you attending?
Sure, and be gone, Patty.
Hey,
It's okay.
Saint preserve us. I'm paying for a school like that.
Really nice to see you all again. Really nice to be home, thanks. I'm going to get a turkey TV dinner. Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Sure, next thing you know, they'll be telling us he's a key grip or something. Sure.
Is this kind of how it happened, Dad? Does that look familiar?
Yeah, it's saying nasty habit.
Actually, what do you do for a living? I assume, are you in the arts at all, having gone to Emerson?
No, not anymore.
What do you do, Pat? Reveal it to us now.
I'm very embarrassed is what it is. I actually work for a television production company in the Boston area.
In what capacity?
In the technical sports area.
I
How's
see.
that?
Did you ever mess up big time?
What happened? Okay. The kind of close well, what happened was there was a piece of information that we needed to get, and I left it back in Boston.
And where did it have to get to?
Well,
where
see,
were you?
there was a small little tripod that cameras sit on once, and we were all the way out in Worcester, Massachusetts, and it was a long 2-hour drive, and we left the tripod back in Boston.
Back in Boston. What was the name of your boss?
Jonathan.
Jonathan. Okay, so let's take a quick look at Patrick messing up big time. And no bottle of Bordelais on the way.
Yeah,
Light's okay.
I think we'll put this camera right here.
John, it's a real nice setup. You're going to get some real nice shots, I think.
Well, thanks very much, Eddie.
Oh, you bet. Patrick.
The only thing we need is the,
Speed it up, folks.
John.
Speed it up, folks.
The light's good.
Yeah,
We're
you
gonna
better
have
hurry up, John. Looks like we're going to have to shoot soon.
right, but we just need the tripod.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be about this height, I think, for the really right
Oh,
light.
yeah, I have one just like that.
You do?
Uh-huh.
Well, want to take a load off my arms and
Let's
put
go
it down,
for it.
son?
Come on.
Oh, I didn't bring
Pat?
it. No, yeah, we can put it on a stool, maybe. I mean,
Are you kidding me? You can't put this on a stool.
That's not in the union contract. You can't use it.
I've got my bird cage on top of my tripod. It fits wonderfully. You should really see this trick.
Birdcage.
Patrick, is this a problem?
What kind of half-assed education do you have?
Oh, it's not half-assed. It's full forward, man. Emerson all the way.
You know, I'll bet you couldn't tell a broad you lay from a broad you...
I know what you're trying to say.
What I'm saying?
I do, but
Help
I
me
can't.
out here. Help me out, will you?
I think the light's going down now. We've lost the light
I guess
here.
that's a wrap. Maybe tomorrow.
It's a wrap.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Okay. Andy,
Behind you, Andy.
Behind now of you.
Don't worry, I'm technically competent. Pat, could you get
Yeah,
this?
right.
No,
We're
Pat.
asking you to do it. You went to Emerson. You weren't trained at SCATV. All right, great.
All right, I'll sit.
Thank you, Andy.
No, thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
Just thanks for being here.
Thanks for being you.
So these are the angry tuxedos. Why don't you go around and introduce yourself?
My name's Andy Meyer.
I'm Carol Feldman.
I'm Marjorie Murray.
I'm Ken Whitler.
I'm Paul Van Wart.
Great. So when did you form? How long have you been performing and the whole bit? How'd you start?
Carol's been here the longest.
Which is the answer to the question.
I know.
The question was, how did the troupe start?
The troupe started actually a long time ago, and it was a many moons ago, Erica. No, it was a offshoot of a group called SB Vehicles. And
We had them on Dead or Alive
many years ago. It was an offshoot of that.
There we go.
And one of the members who
Evolutionary.
isn't here tonight, Dan Sullivan, who is not here, but he is a member. He was with them, and they offshot from SB Vehicles, and I auditioned for them about 3 years ago. And that's really how it started. And then all these guys sort of came and started auditioning and being there. And then we got Marjorie, He's our director.
When'd you get Marjorie?
Marjorie actually saw us once perform at Boston Bay Theater and said, what did you say, Marjorie?
It's so embarrassing.
Should we play it out after?
I don't remember exactly. I said you were very good. I said you needed a director.
We needed a director
What a
very
mistake.
badly. And we got Marjorie to come and direct us, and it's been really wonderful since then.
Great. And where do you all perform regularly? Where do you perform? What parts of town or what kinds of places? Where do you do this comedy?
Dick's.
Excuse me?
Hey, watch it flow on television, okay? I told you to watch
Friday
it.
nights, we perform at Remington's, Dick Doherty's Comedy Vault, known as Dick's to some of the more familiar people in the
Yeah.
group.
On a birthday basis.
Yeah, and it's in a comedy vault in an old bank, which is now a restaurant called Remington's. That's Friday nights. We have a show at 10 o'clock.
Remington's is right by the Commons, right?
Right, it's Boylston and Tremont Street, right across from the Boylston Tea Stop.
And every Friday night you can
We're
watch
there.
the Angry Tuxedos at 10 o'clock
Mhm.
at
But-
Remington's.
Yes, and they
Other
also
than-
appear at clubs all over New England. You know, improv is really sort of coming back here in Boston, the Boston area. There's a number of troops, of which the Angry Tuxedos are, of course, the best. But
Yeah.
Spinazzola,
Shameless
Framingham,
plug.
and
Shameless
Duck
plug.
Soup,
Or
which
Duck
is a
Soup.
wonderful club.
Great.
Really be
In
getting
fact, I
around.
heard that through the grapevine you were recently in a competition in Boston, put on by some well-known alcohol.
Booze.
Label.
Well-known booze.
Yes, well-known booze. What was that like? What was that competition about?
About 2 days. Southern Comfort sponsored an improv Olympics done by Second City out in Chicago, and they come to 6 cities in the country and put on a weekend workshop, and then they picked 3 teams from each workshop, a team from each workshop, which competed in the finals on a Tuesday night, and the best team will hopefully get on to Los Angeles.
The best team won, and that was actually a team that Marjorie was on,
Aha.
which was independent of us. We didn't win. No hard feelings.
Incestuous world. We eat our young here in improv world.
They did.
They did. Just spit us out.
Tell me something about improv. I mean, the thing that I wonder when I watch improv is, God, aren't you scared? I mean, all of a sudden it's live, and you've got to come up with it. What's that like on stage?
This wasn't in the script. This wasn't in the script.
You have a script.
It's actually, it's scary, but it's very exhilarating. So it's not frightening. I mean, there's that little bit of like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Am I going to really be able to come up with something? Are they going to enjoy what I'm saying? Are they going to laugh? And then it becomes exciting. Like, what can I do? What's the next step I can go to? Where can I go? And it's very happening, wow, fabby do.
I've always said, like when Letterman asked me this question, I said,
I apologize to the viewers.
We don't have the Letterman clip?
Sorry.
okay, well,
Damn.
We left it. I left it at home with the tripod.
the tripod. Do you have the Saturday Night Live clip? Is that ready?
That's back there with the tripod.
Oh, okay, well, I'm gonna just go with it. I mean, if we don't have it, no, I guess it has to do with relaxing, believe it or not, Erica. Just relaxing.
That's surprising.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what
I'd be
it's all
surprised you can relax on stage when you have to.
Well, I found that if there are times when you're really just flat out white knuckle terror panicking, you won't be able to think of anything to say.
What happens? Like, do any of you have some anecdotes? I mean, when have any of you just totally frozen?
Never.
No.
Never.
That happened once to one guy and we had to kill him.
That's why
We
you're down to
sacrificed
4.
We sacrificed
Down
him.
to 4.
It was worth it.
No, we've had some horrible moments. I mean, there really have been. That happened. We played a club. We played a club one time in front of at least 100 people, and it was like playing in front of an oil painting. This notebook would have given us more. I mean,
Nothing.
You can't do this stuff unless people say words back to you, and they didn't. In fact, the only suggestion we really got was Stallone. I think over.
And over. And over.
Yeah, a literary style.
Stallone.
Literary?
An emotion. Stallone.
Yeah, Rambo. It wasn't even Stallone. It was Rambo. Over and over again.
We were just at a local college, which was the opposite of not getting anything. All they did was talk
To each
to each other throughout the entire thing. So all you hear is like, you know, you're up there going, can I have an emotion? It's like, well, Bart went and saw Susie, and it was like, you know, please give us something. And they didn't shut up once. So that was pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm sure it's very audience dependent, and it must be.
Yeah, an audience can really ruin it if they want to. You know, that's always the
So
case.
we formed a support group for audiences, so they can become improv hip.
But by and large, it happens pretty much like this just happened, pretty smoothly.
Yeah, I will vouch for that. This troupe is always, every time I've seen you, you've been very funny and very entertaining. So I'm really happy that you could be on the show tonight. Really appreciate
Well, thanks for
coming.
having us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun evening. I think that about wraps it up for us. Thank you for joining us at Dead Air Live with Sacrificial Virgins people and Angry Tuxedos. I'm Erica Anderson. Good night and happy Halloween.